وقلب لا يخشع ونفس لا تشبع ودعاء لا يسمع ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي آمين. So today, inshallah, it's a continuation of last week. Some of you were with us last week where we talked about anger. And we went in detail about anger and the good anger and the not very good anger. Most of the anger is not good, so don't take that. But there is some little bit good anger, and why, and what's the reasons, what should we do? So what is the opposite of it? What is opposite anger? And everybody, you're all smiling. Sabr is part of it, but it is not. Exactly, it's hilm. Hilm is forbearance. So if you are patient, then most probably you are forbearance also. And if you are forbearance, most probably you are patient. But they are two different things exactly. And this is actually what I shared. If you read what we shared with you, the flyer is actually a hadith of Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam. And this is what I'm going to start with because it's a beautiful story actually. There's a story behind what he said. So that's basically was a Sahabi. And the Sahabi name is when you read the whole hadith, they tell you Al-Ashajju Abdul Qais or Ashajju Ibn al-Qais. This is his kunya, this is his nickname. It's not his real name. The kunya is he had a wound on his head. So people used to call him the person with the wound. He was young and then he had like most of us did, hit his head and then he had like a scar. So people knew him by the scar. And then Abdul Qais is his clown, where he came from. His name is Al-Mundhir. So why I'm saying this? Because this man was actually not Muslim. And then he used to live not in Mecca, not in Medina. He used to live in the eastern area of the current Saudi or the current Gulf. And he actually was someone here in Mecca. Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam became a Muslim, and Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam sent with him a letter to this man, Al-Ashaj, who was a leader of his people. And he read the letter inviting him to be to Islam, and he became a Muslim. Yeah, subhanallah, right away, because that messenger started by saying, Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam specifically asked about you. And he said, how is Al-Mundhir? And then he explained to him Islam, he became a Muslim. Later on, they all decided to go to Medina to meet Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam. Now I need you to feel this, because that's how all this started. So they all came to Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam, right? Imagine you probably going to be travel at least a month. I mean, there is no plane these days. There's no faster train. So they came to Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam. Before they entered to the masjid, all the people with him ran to meet Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam. What will you and I do? Except him. He actually took his time, made sure all their animals, whether it's a horses or whether it's a camels, they're all tied. And then he took what he brought with him, changed, put on new clothes, and then went to meet Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam. Right? So Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam, there was a discussion between him, meaning, you think your people will become even more Muslims? And he said, yes, we will. Something in that meaning. But that's when he came. He looked at him and says, you have two characters. Inna fika khuslatayn. You have two characters, two traits that Allah loves. Imagine this, you and me. Imagine this, you and me. And he said, al-hilmu wal-anat. Forbearing and deliberateness. And then he looked at him and he said, this is something, my character, I was born with it, or this is something came later? And look at the question. This is something me? This is who I am? Or this came later? And there's a lot you will learn from these words. And the Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam said, no, this is something Allah gave you. And immediately he turned and he says, Alhamdulillah, all praise to Allah, who gave me a character that he loves and his Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam loves. So that's where all this came from. And anytime you look and you search, you just says, Inna fika khuslatayn. There's two characters, this hadith comes up, because there's nobody else. It's only this man. And amazingly, I mean, when I was preparing it, there's a lot of things stopped me. People don't know his name. Because when you see the hadith, even when you read it's in Muslim and at-Tirmidhi, actually his name is not mentioned. It's only his, what the nickname. So the idea is not who is he. It could be you and me. The idea is what? Is the character, is the trait, right? Because he didn't even call him you, this and that. For example, when he said to Sayyidina Mu'adh, Ya Mu'adh, a Sahabi, Ya Mu'adh, inni uhibbuk. Ya Mu'adh, I love you. He called him by his name. But this Sahabi, he said to him, you have two characters. So that means these two characters is really important. Why I'm saying this? Because he said, Allah yuhib. He didn't say, I love. He said, Fika khuslat. You have two characters. Allah loves. And if you look in the Quran, and this is something good for you to get yourself familiar with the Quran, look at what does Allah, where did Allah says, in Allah yuhib, Allah loves. What does Allah love? In the Quran. Al-Muhsineen, usually very common, right? Allah loves those who are muhsin, meaning they are generous, they are very good, they do extras, right? In Allah yuhibbu tawabin, those who return to Him. This one is not in the Quran. It's in the Quran in another way, but there's no in Allah yuhibbu al-halim. Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam picked these two characters only. So what is forbearance? What does it mean? Reality, my daily life. What is it? You're all looking at me. It's like, this is very hard halaqa. Why did I even came? Right? Alhamdulillah. Right? So what is forbearance? And what is the difference between forbearance and deliberation? What is the difference? And he said both. And think, what was the incident? He took his time, got ready, changed. Although he was running, if I was you and me, we would be running. I'm sorry, excuse me, I'm going, right? So what is he teaching me? Number one is thinking. This is basically when you're taking a decision. He was taking the decision, should he go immediately and meet Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam, or let me get ready? Well, that's that time. Let's come to us these days. What is the decisions I have to make? What decisions I have to make? Come on, let's take the youngest people. What decisions? Which college I'm gonna go? That's this like the disaster of the right? And what I'm gonna study. And take me 4 years to decide. After I try 4 majors, then I decide. Is that true? Most of the people, right? So for example, everybody according to their age, right? I mean, you take a child 5 years old to Toys R Us, which toy you want? Al-hilmu wal-anat, you see it there, right? Takes them forever. So the idea is, al-hilmu wal-anat is a character, is thinking. It's a character which means I'm going to think deeply. I am going to talk it out and talk it in. I am going to think about it and I'm going to talk to myself about it. And actually, I'm going to talk to someone else about it. And most importantly, I'm going to talk to Allah about it. I'll take time, think deeply, and consider all the alternatives. I actually looked up the definition of it in the dictionary. Because once you know the definition, you will know why this is so special that Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam specifically said about it. He didn't say as-sabr, although Allah said, Allah yuhibbu as-sabirin. Allah in the Quran says Allah loves those who are patient. But this one from Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam. So making a decision is not about I'm being afflicted. That's sabr. This is not about waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning doing 2 rak'at tahajjud. That's sabr. That's patient. This is different. This is I need to make a decision. And the decision, I have a time. Sometimes the hilm could be 1 minute, and sometimes the forbearance is probably a month or 2. It depends on the case. So I'm thinking deeply, considering all the alternatives. And the other one, the result. I'm gonna act wisely. Did you get the point? So there's 2 things in him. You think and then you act. The more I take my time in thinking, asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, remind me at the end if I forget, because there's something related to this. And then I am gonna act wisely. I'm not gonna be hasty. I'm going to be carefully weighing my options. Weighing my options. Al-hilmu wal-anath. This is a virtue. This is, remember last week we said anger could be virtue, could be vice. This is a virtue. Absolutely a virtue. There is no bad hilm. But if you take it these days, where are we so forbearance and where are we not forbearance? You're all looking at me laughing, but nobody's saying anything, right? The places where we should be forbearance, we are not. And where we are supposed to be not forbearance, not in the positive way, meaning I need to act or take a decision or say something, my answer will be, you know what, I'm not going to change the world. It's not my business. That's not forbearance. Remember this, because some people may mix this up. Forbearance is when I think wisely and the decision is going to be the best and I'm going to act on it. Now, who is the forbearance? Allah, Al-Halim. Allah is Al-Halim. It's 11 times mentioned in the Quran. Al-Halim. So what is Al-Halim for Allah? Ya Allah, how Allah is Halim. So what, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, may Allah is exalted, is going to be thinking? It's not you and me, but this is His name, right? Al-Halim. So what is Al-Halim? Al-Halim, when you look at the definition of it, the one who does not punish you and me immediately when I disobey Him. And how many times I disobey Him? Right? Where do we start? What did I say? What did I look at? What did I didn't say? What I didn't look at? And all this. So Al-Halim, they say the one who does not rush to punishment. Subhanah, Al-Halim. That's one. Al-Halim is the one who wait, although he's a kafir or she's a kafir, or they are disobedient, or they have just sinning and sinning, just in case they will repent. That's why Allah, one of the reasons Allah does not rush to punish us, because we may, and a lot of us does, repent, go back to Him, Al-Halim. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said this in the Quran twice. He didn't use His name, but used this concept. He said it in Surah Al-Nahl, and He said it last ayah of Surah Fatir. وَلَا يُؤَخِذُ اللَّهُ النَّاسَ بِمَا بِظُلْمِهِمْ. If Allah will take people accountable to the wrongdoing they do on this earth, there will be no one walking on this earth. Actually, not one. Nothing will be walking. مَا تَرَكَ عَلَى ظَهْرِهَا مِنْ دَابَّةٍ. Nothing will be walking. Nothing. And He said the same thing in Surah Fatir. If Allah will take people accountable بِمَا كَسَبُوا, what they did. But because He's Halim. And why I'm saying this, because this is one of the things, in the end, we're going to come and say, what should I do? So I learned the virtues of Hilm, but what should I do? Where do I start? One of the first things I need to remind myself, and I'm not talking about anyone else, is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, how much He is Halim with me, how much He is forbearing with me. Still give me and I disobey Him. Still forgive me and I disobey Him. Still I disobey Him and I ask Him and He gives me. True or false? All of us, regardless of what's the relationship we have with Allah. We think we are very close, but still we're not doing what we should, or we could be very far, but still He gives us. Subhanah. So Al-Halim. Allah as Al-Halim. And He actually, amazingly, I looked and it's like, where did He put this name with what? You know, in the Quran, the names comes together. So which names of Allah He chose to put them together with the forbearing one? The first one is Al-Ghafur. Ghafuran Halima. Ghafurun Halim. Ghafur, all forgiving, and Halim, forbearing. I need you to think of this, because I and you will probably today, if not tomorrow, we will be tested with this, what I'm saying and what we are learning. That something is going to happen. It could be very trivial, right? But my forbearance is being tested. And immediately I have to bring back, it's like Allah is Ghafurun Halim. Forgive and be forbearing. And I'll give you examples of amazing examples. It's not like, not amazing, it's beyond. But again, something will help us to learn. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also, He put it with aliman halima, all-knowing, forbearing, meaning He know I disobey Him. He know I could have done better, but He's forbearing, giving me second chance. Does He give us second, third, fourth, million, right? You name it. Till we die. Till the moment I die, there is still a possibility. Subhanallah, aliman halima. Then who was the Rasul which prophet Allah described him in the Quran twice? Halim. Was not a Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam, actually. Was Sayyidina Ibrahim. Twice. Inna Ibrahim halimun awwahum munib. 3. This is in Surah Hud. Halim, or forbearing. Awwah, he always turned to Allah and longing, loving. And munib, whatever happens turns to Allah. Good or not good, turns to Allah. And then who was described as also a Nabi, but the moment he was born, he was described as forbearing. The moment he was born. Who was it? His son, Ismail. وَبَشَّرْنَاهُ بِغُلَامٍ حَلِيمٍ. The only one in Surah Al-Safat. Subhanallah, it's amazing when you look at this, and then it's like, yeah, the only one. Basharnahu, his wife became pregnant, and Allah already described him as Halim, as forbearing, because He will tell me and you why. Because when his father came to him and says, I have seen a dream, I am slaughtering you, what was his answer? Forbearing. افعل ما تؤمر, do what you have been told. So here you are, Halim, Hulim, and Ana. I have to be forbearing. I have to take my time. How do I do that? Very easy said, right? How many of us can say, I am, I have it, I'm working on it, I have not tasted this, I don't know what this even mean or look or feel. You are all murmuring. Working on it. طيب. Let's come to the example. The first example I'll give you is from Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam. Because what will help me, and this is reality, this is not only in the books. What will really help me to practice this character is when I see the result of it. When I see the result of it. And I'll share with you one result, which some of you may be familiar. When Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam went to Ta'if, you know the story. So he went to Ta'if, right? And he was calling people to Islam. What did they do? Least to say, they hurt him. Hurt or insult, or physically, or emotionally, all this, right? So he came back, did his famous dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that if this what happened to me, and he was bleeding from his blessed foot. And he said, if this is not because you are not happy with me, it doesn't matter, right? And then immediately, the angel of the mountains came to him. What do you want us to do with them? Bring the 2 mountains on them. أطبق الأخشبين. Let them bring the 2 mountains, let them be gone. Now this is forbearance. How many people would have said what he said? What did he say? No. One day, someone will come from them that will say, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Go to Ta'if now when you go to Mecca. Everybody say, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. It took time, of course, but when I think of the result, and I'll share with you some stories also, basically think of the result. And I'll give you practical at the end, practical things to do. But think of the result. And as I always think, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is forbearing with me, I need to be forbearing with people. Making decisions, because that's usually where it is. For example, these days especially, I don't know, give me an example. You're different ages here, so give me an example. I need to make a decision. What makes me forbearing and what makes me not forbearing? Give me an example. Nothing. Life is very good. No decisions. Everything is smooth going, alhamdulillah. We don't need this lecture, right? Ya Rabbi. So applying to college, applying to job, right? Applying to job. Someone transgressed against me. Let's combine it with last week, right? Someone transgressed against me. Could be immediately, I'm here, and someone just comes in and start talking about us negatively. Or it could be someone told me, or I read a message, all these ways. So here is my anger and my forbearance is being tested, right? I'm not an angel. We said this last week. We're not angels, right? And almost all of us, actually, everybody has anger in them because it is part of nature. Same thing with forbearance. Because what did he ask him? Is it something Allah gave it to me, or it's something I learned? He said, something Allah gave you. That means we have it both. So here you go. I need to make a decision right now. The decision, especially when it is not immediate, meaning right this moment, Jazakillah khair. Not right this moment. There's 3 things I have to do. And this is from the Quran, this is from the Sunnah. Number 1 is what? And very rarely we do this. First, that's you. 3 things is between you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and it is between you and people. Number 1, you pray istikhara. You ask Allah for guidance. Anything, right? And let's talk about from marriage, really, because these are decisions, whether getting married or ending the marriage, going to this college, not going to this college, moving, staying, buying a home, buying a car. Literally, I mean, I lived with some teachers who will not do anything. I was like, subhanallah, without doing istikhara. Istikhara is basically counseling Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, asking Allah for guidance. And I'll share with you dua al-istikhara at the end when inshallah we'll have time. So number 1, I'm going to turn to Allah. Here I am. Somebody said, this person said this about you, and they showed you the text message, or these days very easy, right? The text message or the phone or whatever, right? And you looked it up and you got very upset. And this is common. Here you are, the forbearance is being tested. What I'm going to do? Immediately, you turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this dua al-istikhara, and you say, Ya Allah, show me what is the right thing. For example, you said, that is it. This person, she or he, they are not part of my life anymore. That's a decision based upon reaction to something heard or happened. Is that something pleasing to Allah? That's pleasing to me for sure, because this is the only thing is going to make me feel better. You're going to turn to Allah and says, cutting this relationship is good for me, my deen, my religion, this life, the hereafter. Make it happen. Make it happen and make me happy with it and make it easy. This relationship, cutting it, although I wanted, I'll feel very good when I'm not going to see this person anymore. I'm going to say this to Allah. Then if this is not good for me in my life, it's the 3 things we are. In my religion, number 1, fi dini, wa dunyai, my life, wa akhirati, my hereafter. These 3 things. If cutting this relationship or going to this college or moving to this house, anything is not good, then immediately you're saying to Allah, Ya Allah, keep it away from me, srifu anni, move it away from me, move me away from it, because I love it, I want it. Move it away and then find good for me. That will take time. That will take time. All hilm, all forbearance is about time. Time. Just take, and I remember a long time ago, so those of you who work probably know this, what they teach you. When you write an email, what do they say? Never write an email when you're angry. And don't send it when you are angry. Sleep on it. That's how they teach you. So if your boss sends you an email and you are really unhappy, right? And then they always tell you, if you feel good by writing an email, write it, but don't send it. Sleep and wake up in the morning. That's taking your time. For us as Muslims, we're going to say, I'm going to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and I'm going to take the counsel of people I trust, not the people who will tell me what I want to hear. People who I trust their deen, specifically people who will tell you not what you want. People who will come take your advice, you go to them, take your advice, and you're thinking she will say, for example, leave him, or don't go to that college, and you don't want to go to that college. She will say, no, stay in that college. And I was like, oh, great. So two things, takes time, al-hilm, take your time in these things. And wallah alladhi la illahu, the more you do that, you will see the result of your actions. It's amazing, amazing. I'll share with you a couple of, don't laugh. It's couple, or don't say this is them, this is not us. I'll give you an example. Sayyidina Abdullah ibn Abbas, right? The cousin of Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam, right? Sahabi, Ahlul Bayt, you name it, right? A man cursed him publicly. Think you and me, right? What will happen if someone cursed you and me? It depends. It depends. There is immediate, there is intermediate, there is later, right? Right? So then, number one, he listened till he finished. فَلَمَّا قَضَى مَقَالَتَهُ. He finished. It was on and on and on and on. And then he says, didn't answer. Turned to Ikrimah, who's another Sahabi, and says, look, does the man need anything that we can do for him? Does the man need anything that we can do for him? Can you imagine this? Oh my God, exactly. And then a man came to Muawiyah, the ruler. You have to think of these days, right? Think of a dignitary, and a man stops in the front of the dignitary and starts cursing him. What will happen? The man will be dead in 2 seconds, right? So this is it with Muawiyah. A man also talked negatively about him. So people around him says, aren't you going to punish him? He didn't answer, number one. And he says, I feel so shy that I don't have enough forbearance to accept what he said about me. I feel shy, meaning it's a virtue. It's a virtue. When there's things you don't accept people to say about you, for example, she lies, and you feel so offended because you don't lie. This is not me. This is how it should be. It should be al-hilm, forbearance. It should be something that I need to work on myself, that it doesn't befit me as a Muslim, as a believer, as know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that I don't have it. But unfortunately, we are losing it. If I tell you, think of somebody who's forbearing, does anyone comes to you living around you? Or are you going to start thinking of the Sahaba, of the companions, right? Now, look at this. This is amazing. Yeah, let me just finish this and I'll take a question. And Muawiyah also, he actually divided, he had like a box of jewelry, let's assume. And he divided them, right? And he sent it to people. And one of them reached an old man from Damascus. So the man actually did not like it. Meaning he's like, what is this? That's it? That's what you give me? And he made an oath that he's going to go and hit Muawiyah. Can you imagine this? What? Imagine this, you and me. So it came to Muawiyah. Of course, these things fly like a quickly. Well, very tough. You're talking about, these are rulers. Amir al-Mu'mineen, you read there. And he said, okay, bring the man. Okay, so the man came in. And he said, okay, you made an oath? You want to hit my head? Okay, go ahead and do it, but don't be too hard. Ya Allah. Look at the next one. This is amazing. Abu Dhar al-Ghafari is a Sahabi companion. So a man, he had a sheep, one sheep. So a young boy broke the leg of the sheep and came to him with the broken sheep. So Sayyidina Abu Dhar says, who did that? And the boy says, Ghulam, I did it, so you will be upset. Ya Allah. Imagine this. This is Abu Dhar al-Ghafari. If you have to think of who are these people, and then I have to look at myself as like who I am. I'm sorry, who are we, right? In the sight of Allah, at least, we're not that level. And then a young boy comes to him with a broken leg, and he shows to him and says, I did this to get you upset. Imagine this is in your home, in your kitchen, right? And a young boy came and smashed a plate, right? And then he looks at you and says, I did it to make you upset. What are you going to do? I mean, least to say that you're going to hear a sound, right? Or anyway. So what did Sayyidina Abu Dhar says? He said, oh, so the boy said, look at this. The boy is faqih. He said, I did it. So you get upset. So you will hit me, and then you will do a sin. Ya Allah, a sin. Sin. So I did it. So he was so courageous to acknowledge not only that, but why he did it. Like he didn't say it was an accident. You know how the children always say, it's an accident. No, I did it. So you get upset. So you hit me, so you will ta'tham. This will be a sin. So what did Sayyid Abu Dhar did? Now look at the forbearing. What did he say? He said, whoever sent you and told you to do that to get me upset, go back and tell him you are free. He was a slave. You are free. Done. Can you imagine this? No, you cannot, I know, right? But think of it. Really, when I was reading this, there was a lot of stories. And when I was reading this, I was like, Ya Allah, there has to be something. These are human beings, you and me, right? And what they did to them, anybody can do this to you and me. You get upset. You are getting to the highway, right? Getting to the highway, and someone took your lane. Why there is road rage these days, right? Because lack of forbearance. Anger is there, then anger comes out, and then we act on the anger, not act again the anger. And another man, Adi, which is also a Sahabi, and then cursed him again. These people do it publicly, and he's silent. And then he said, done? You said everything you want? Anything left? Anything else? Go before somebody comes in, and then they will say that you cursed someone. Let me say it again. So this is Ali. This is also a Sahabi. So a man came between him. So only two of them. Cursed him. Nothing. And then he said, done. No more. Anything else you want to say? And the man said yes. He says, go before somebody comes in and hear you cursing. Now this is beautiful. This, remember it when you come to the masjid, and especially when in Ramadan, right? So Sayyidina Umar ibn Abdul Aziz entered the masjid, and it was dark, right? So entered the musalla, and it was completely dark. So he's walking. Now who's Umar ibn Abdul Aziz? Please, let's remind ourselves. Sayyidina Umar ibn Abdul Aziz, the ruler. He's well known. He's the fifth Khalifa. Out of his piety, out of his taqwa, Allah's conscious, and adl, justice. So this is coming to the masjid. Imagine this, you and me. I want you to think it's you and me upstairs. Okay? So he entered and it was dark, so he didn't turn on the light. And a man was sleeping. So he walked on his hand. The man, of course, it's painful. So the man jumped and says, are you crazy? A majnoon ant? Yeah, no, a majnoon ant. And Umar ibn Abdul Aziz says, no, I'm not. So the soldiers, this is the ruler. So the soldiers jumped on the man and he said, hold on, what's wrong with you? He asked a question and I answered. He said, are you crazy? I said, no. Did you get it? Take it simple. Yeah, exactly. The reason I'm sharing these stories, because the more I read these stories, what's going to make me? There is a reason these stories in almost all the books. Why these stories are there? Because once I see, for example, let's take a contemporary example, right? So this is your friend. Haven't seen her for 6 months or a year. And then you see her. And you see her lost a lot of weight and looks beautiful. And you said, wow, this is really nice. And she said, yep, for the last year, I've been exercising daily for an hour, and I'm really watching what I'm going to eat. What is going to happen to you? It has to move something in you, and you're going to say, you know what? If she can do it, I can do it. Most of the people. This is why you see all these stories, because these in reality, especially you and me, these days is not easy. So here I am, I go upstairs to the masjid. Ramadan is coming, inshallah. How much left for Ramadan? 2 months and a few days, and 1 week. 2 months and 1 week. So here you go upstairs. Same story. You go upstairs, right, for Salah, for Taraweeh, and it's my place, right? My name is written there, right? Allah said, this is my name. Okay? And then you come in, and I'm going to give you 2 examples, right? Nobody said Majnoon yet. Nobody says you're crazy yet. So here you go. You come in, every day you pray that place, every day. And this, you come in today, and a woman came before you and sat there. Huh? Exactly. Move. Subhanallah la illahu. Imagine this, right? And I witnessed actually this also in the haram, of course, because the haram stories is close to this, right? And then this is exactly happened to a woman. I was next to her. She went for tawaf, came back, gone. She came back, and then people looked at her waiting, what is she going to say? And then she just walked around, and she just walked away. And so, you know how people ta'awanu al-birri wa taqwa? No. They was like, this is your place. Aren't you going to ask for it? And she said, is my name there? And moved. In the haram. This is the haram of Allah. You're coming for Umrah. Allah, you know how much you paid. There is people. So here you go. Think of it. Every time you come to the masjid, think of the story of Sayyidina Umar ibn Abdul Aziz. He took the question as a question. Somebody look and say, are you dumb? Of course, we're going to get very upset. What do you think I am? And he looked and says, no, I am not. Done. That's forbearing. Now, another man came to Ali ibn al-Hussein. Now, this is even more. Who's Ali ibn al-Hussein? Who's his grandfather? Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam, right? Ali ibn al-Hussein. And Ali Zayn al-Abidin, actually, right? The righteous man, the beautiful man, the lineage, everything. Cursed him in public, right? So, of course, all the people around him, this is Sayyidina Ali, jumped on him. And he said, wait. Mahla. And he says, look at this one. This is Ali ibn al-Hussein. He answers differently. He said, came close to the man, and he says, what you don't know about me is way more than what you just said. Did you get the point? What Allah concealed from me and you is way more than what you just said. Anything I can do. Do you need anything I can do? And Rajul, immediately the man felt so shy, and he threw his cloak on Sayyidina Ali, and he said nothing, and he apologized. So when someone, and actually this is one part of the tazkiyah, is when someone say negative things about you, you should immediately turn to Allah and says, Alhamdulillah, ya Allah, they've seen only this. They haven't seen this and this, which you and I know very well. Each one knows about herself. So here you go, Sayyidina Ali. And the last one, this is amazing. Also a pious man. A man came to him and says, somebody cursed you. So this is worse, right? So this is much worse, because that somebody cursed you. So here you go. Oh, you didn't know what she said about you. Oh, did you see her text? Let me show you her text message. Right? Let me show you the email. Let me show you whatever. Look what he answered. So this is a very good one for you and me, especially when someone brings the news. And he said, Shaitan did not find anyone else but you to send the message. Shaitan did not find anyone else but you to send the message. Allahu Akbar. So forbearance is imagine what I want to, why did I share these stories? Imagine if these people did not respond this way, right? Imagine entering the masjid and Sayyidina Umar ibn Abdul Aziz, and the man says, are you crazy? And he said, do you know who I am? And on and on and on. What would have happened? Right? Or this man, when he comes, your best friend said this about you. And if he was not knowing his deen, practicing his deen, turn to Allah, help me, Ya Rabbi, and he didn't say this, what would have he said? What would have happened? Immediately you would have a couple of things. I will never talk to her, right? Or give me, this is the message, okay, I'm sending it from my phone, and see what I'm going to say. Or I'm going to go to her house and I will tell her who I am and how I trust all this. Versus forbearance. Number one, and this is again back to what we started. Number one, you are taking your time. Now, these people are at a level attached to Allah that their immediate response is something you and me need to work on. Where do I start? At least don't respond. Don't respond. Take your time. Because that's what al-hilm. Al-hilm meaning you're taking your time. You know when somebody, like you have a test, and some people give the paper in 5 minutes, and some people takes 40 minutes, and it's only 5 questions, and you keep saying, what are they answering? It's only 5 questions. That's al-hilm. Right? They are patient. They're looking at the question, thinking of it. Maybe it could be this, maybe it could be. I have a time. There's no rush. Why? Some people say, why do I want to give it early? It's my right. Right? So where do I start? And there is a hadith of Rasul والسلام, applies to everything actually, but it applies here. This is a weak hadith, but the idea is right. He says, the meaning of everything is by learning. You can learn everything. Everything. He says, إِنَّمَا الْعِلْمُ بِالتَّعَلُّمِ. To learn, to be knowledgeable, is by learning. And now think of this first, and then the next becomes easy. So a baby, you all have seen a 6 months old, right? Or a 9 months old, or a 1-year-old starting to walk. What happens? How many times he or she fell or fall? Right? And what do? Get up, get up. We all fell. One day you will walk. Right? If I was this baby, or this baby can talk, what would he have said? You don't know how difficult this is. You know what it means to fall and get up, and I keep falling? But what happens after when they become 2? They're walking. That's how we all walk. إِنَّمَا الْعِلْمُ بِالتَّعَلُّمِ. Learning, to attain knowledge is by learning. To become a halim, it is here. وَالْحِلْمُ بِالتَّحَلُّمِ. It is in this hadith. And to become forbearing, you need to practice it. So how do I practice? Bismillah. Inshallah. No, inshallah for sure. Inshallah is always there, right? So number one, exactly. Number one, remind myself and you of this. Take your time. Don't respond. Don't respond. This will, now you're on that path. Allahu Akbar. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول 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 الله. حي على الصلاة. لا قوة إلا بالله. حي على لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله. الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله. صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم بارك على محمد وعلى آل لا تخلف الميعاد. الحمد لله رب العالمين. So we were at the hadith of Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam. Verily, attaining knowledge is by learning. Attaining the character of forbearing is by practicing it. So when I get the news that really upset me, don't react. Don't. Literally, we all get this impulse. All of us, we get this impulse to respond, to answer, to say something, to do something, right? Just don't do it. One time I'll do, one time I fail, one time I do, but I'm trying. Remember the baby who's walking. At one point you will be able to control. Once you start controlling, you're on that right path. With a dua, with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. العلم بالتحلم والصبر and there's addition to it, والصبر بالتصبر. And being patient, or getting the character or the virtue of being patient, is by practicing patient. And five things actually was the character of the prophets. And one of them is al-hilm. They were so forbearing with their people. I mean, we all read Quran and see what they did to them. And they were forbearing. And the last thing is, there was a man, and this is at the time before Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam. He used to wake up every morning and says to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Ya Allah, my honor, my character is a sadaqah today for everyone. Whatever they want to say about me, let them say. So Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam, this is the hadith. His name was Abu Damdam. And the hadith of Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam was, does any one of you wants to be Abu Damdam this morning? He used to say it in the morning. Anybody wants to be Abu Damdam today? Meaning, people will hurt, right? People will accuse, people will curse, people will transgress. This is how it is, right? So, do I want to be Abu Damdam? And it's like Allah charity, sadaqah, meaning on the day of judgment, I'm going to see it on my right hand, in my right book. Practical points. The calmer you are, the more forbearing you are. And one of the things, and this is practical, is a lot of dhikr of Allah. And not dhikr of Allah with people and you're not focused. Driving, be in dhikr of Allah. Alone in the house, be in dhikr of Allah. A lot of istighfar, especially when it happens. When you're forbearing or your anger is being tested, just hold to astaghfirullah. Any of the ones you know. Astaghfirullah, la ilaha illa anta subhanak inni kuntu min al-zalimin. Astaghfirullah alladhi la ilaha al-hayy al-qayyum wa atubu. Just keep saying it. It is like magic. Because Allah said it, ala bi dhikrillah tatma'innu al-qulub. By the remembrance of Allah, hearts attain serenity. The more you are in dhikr, the more what Allah promised is going to happen. Now, number 3 is practical points. Take your time in doing things. For example, after salah. Number 1, salah. When you have the option, make it a little bit longer. It's so hard. It is la ilaha illallah, right? You just want to go for Allahu Akbar. And if the Imam read 3 ayat, this is too long. When he's going to say Allahu Akbar, right? Do it at home, especially when you're alone. Because this is how I'm training. Remember? Al-hilmu bit-tahallum. I'm training myself. So these things I have control over. Because if I control my nafs, and I am calmer inside, then when it comes out. So a lot of dhikr, a lot of istighfar. Longer time in salah. Stay after salah in dhikr, the adhkar of salah. And if you can, a lot of fasting. Fasting control us. Dying to drink this thing. I want to get this, just sip up water. I'm so hungry, especially not Ramadan. Ramadan is a different story, but I'm talking about these days. A lot of this. And then learn and be around people who will help you. You don't want to be around people who are complainers, because the complainers are the people who will not, everything has to go my way or the highway. That's not what I want, because life is not going to be my way. So do all these things and remember this. If you remember two stories, the stories of Sayyidina Umar ibn Abdul Aziz and the stories of Wahb ibn Munabbih, where he said, who sent you? Shaitan didn't find anybody else but you to send. And practice it and ask Allah. And always you do this. Ya Halim urzuqni al-hilm. O you who are the forbearing, give me this character. Make me. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will be idnillah. جزاكم الله خيرا. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. صلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه تسليما كثيرا. جزاكم الله خيرا. We have 2 online questions soon. Just before I forget the question, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, it's so nice because we started this free courses for the youth, 12 to 18. We had overwhelming response from outside St. Louis. Yeah, subhanAllah, we had people from Malaysia and we had people, alhamdulillah. So spread the word. Youth 12 to 18, except Tazkiyah, because Tazkiyah needs a little bit older age. But these are free for our youth. And they can join us online, they can join us on site. I don't think anything else we can do more than that. Yes.
People have different character traits. Would it be fair to say that some have a larger innate capability for forbearance?
Yes,
while others have to
absolutely. Yes, this is why he asked. The question is, are we different? Some of us, Allah gave us this, and some of us, Allah gave us others, but not this. Yes, it's an innate character, but all of us has a base. All of us has a base. I need to work on it. It's exactly like anger. Remember last week? It's all of us have it, but some of us worked on it and control it, contain it, and someone let it loose.
And the second one is with regards to Salatul Istikhara, asking that the elders used to say that 2 rakahs and then sleep when praying Salat.
It's a very
yeah. She came to know that you recite the dua of istikhara and then Allah just guides you to the right way.
Exactly. So in istikhara, when you pray the dua of istikhara, not necessarily you're going to see a dream, or I'm going to open the Quran and see what the ayah will be. No, it could be a dream. It's a possibility, but not necessarily. But usually keep praying till Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will show you. If things are going easy and you're comfortable, everything is opening up, that means it's happening. And if not, that means Allah doesn't want it to happen. But you have to have this 2 things in al-istikhara. You have to have this belief and yaqeen. And whatever he will choose is good, because that's what you are saying to him. This is what you are saying to him. Choose for me what is good for my religion and life and hereafter. Not afterward you say, well, I hear this a lot from people. Well, I prayed istikhara and look what happened. Subhanallah. But I don't know the results yet. Patient, forbearing. So yes, absolutely. You don't have to see. Some people do see dreams, but not necessarily. جزاكم الله خير. Let's go for salah. وإياكم. May Allah reward you. I needed that.